All right, everyone. A very good evening to all of you who are in the Netherlands, and for the rest who are joining us beyond Netherlands. Thank you for joining me today. This is my first company webinar for the year, entitled Exploring Core Dutch Values. I'm going to pull up my PowerPoint slides. Hope you can see it. All right, we shall begin. Now, it's of no surprise to you, I am Tarata Hit and your trainer for the evening. I am the owner, intercultural trainer and career coach at ProCompass Coaching and Training. And on a good day, this is how I look like with a good photographer. On other days, I look like this. I do my best. And I'm born and raised in Singapore. And I moved to the Netherlands about 5 years ago. I moved here because I wanted to reunite with my Dutch husband. After a long whirlwind, long distance relationship for 7 years, we made the plunge and moved here, or I made the plunge and I moved here. So this could be some situations that some of you may be familiar with, all right? And formerly, I was a teacher back in Singapore. I was a teacher trainer and e-learning resource developer for the headquarters of the Singapore Ministry of Education. And when I moved here to the Netherlands, I program manage an international alliance here based in Leiden, and where I communicated and collaborated with senior executives and upper management. So that work was something that I really enjoyed because I could work with different executives and upper management as well as other employees from across the world. And that was part of the reason why I went on to build ProCompass Coaching and Training. On my spare time, I run and founded an international women's networking group here in Leiden. We call ourselves Vero Praatjes, and I build it together with a Dutch friend of mine, and we're happy to foster interactions within different groups of people of different nationalities. Yeah. Now, what exactly do I do now? And yes, without venturing into what are the programs that I run, I am an accredited trainer from the Interchange Institute, and they trained me in cross-cultural workshops, and I am actually going to run a training for them next week for the other trainers as well, or rather it will be done next month. So if you are an intercultural trainer yourself or a cross-cultural specialist, it would be nice to see you as well in another platform at Interchange Institute next month. Now down to my the company itself, what do I run? There are 3 levels of programs. First is Pro Lite, which you are on. These are where I conduct free individual consultations, webinars, and resources. Now you're on the Pro Lite webinar right now, and it is currently every month or so. And we are on every month on the 3rd Thursday of the month. Yeah, and I will actually publish resources regularly on my website. Let me push this aside. Now, the second program will be ProFlex, which is actually coming soon. What is ProFlex? ProFlex are online learning courses that I'm currently building for private individuals who are thinking of moving to the Netherlands or are newly settled in the Netherlands. So of course, upon payment, they will receive access to learning materials that they can access whenever, wherever, at their own time. And the courses will equip them with information and tips and techniques on how to work and live easier and more productively in the Netherlands. And the last one is called Pro Plus, which are cross-cultural programs designed for companies and organizations for their employees that need to relocate for work, specifically to the Netherlands. So it can be done or created for in-person, blended, or hybrid, as well as a full online learning for their specific employees. And there's also an added option for these specific employees to receive career coaching in the first 3 to 6 months, depending on how long their work assignments in the Netherlands is, where I can help them ease into the work culture in the Dutch working culture. So yeah, I hope that's clear. Now, you see this red tab. This is a time for you to be actively engaged. I am going to show you 3 articles, all right? You don't need to read the gist of it, but you can focus on the headlines, all right? And they are on different topics, of course, but there is one shared value among the 3 articles. All right, I'm going to show you the very first one. This is over half of the Dutch population are not religious. And this article is taken from the National Statistics figures by CBS.nl. Just focus on the headline. This particular one comes from the Dutch government website about the importance of safeguarding press freedom. And the third one here is from a news website, translated in Dutch, of course, by NL Times, where they talk about a bill to ban gay conversion therapy. It was just out this week. So 3 different titles, but one shared value. And my question to you is, what do you think is the first value that this article share? Now, I am going to send you the poll. So get ready. Launch. And you can choose that one choice. And once you're ready, you can press. We can move around the poll as well, so you can see. All right, we're waiting about one more. I'm waiting for one more participant, but I imagine that you might be having a technical difficulty, which is understandable, don't worry. All right, most of you chose freedom. Hey, and you're right, guys. You're yeah, some of us are celebrating on that, but you're very right. Let me push this aside. Now, why freedom? Now, in the Netherlands, when you moved here, just know that you have the right to exercise your faith, your opinions, your lifestyle, your association, and your self-determination. Now, what does that mean to you? You have the right to exercise your faith, so no one can force you into a faith. Neither can you force your own faith onto someone else. And you can even have no faith here. Respect is key. Number 2, this may be a shock to some of you who may come from a country that does not have as much freedom in expressing opinions or speech. In the Netherlands here, everyone is entitled to their own opinion, even if you do not agree to it or you feel offended by it. And this sometimes can happen where you are faced with a situation where you feel that you're being discriminated, but just know that there are mechanisms here to report that. For me, when I first came to the Netherlands, I was quite taken aback as somebody who comes from Singapore. Like, wow, there are certain topics here that are widely discussed, and it is very interesting to hear the exchange of ideas. And I really like that. It's something that I really value now in the Netherlands. In lifestyle, you can choose and express your lifestyles. Of course, there are exceptions. Like, for example, the police are encouraged to be neutral, and there are also, for example, some companies that don't allow you to wear piercings, this is for security and safety issues. Now, association, freedom to belong to somewhere. So there is a place for everyone in the society here. This is something that you will observe with your interactions with Dutch people. Is some, if not most of them, join an association. They call it a vereniging, all right, where they take part in, like, for example, a sports association or a political association. And they take part in causes or take part in interest groups. In this way, you meet people of similar interests, and this is something that I encourage you to do that, because not only will you immediately be part of a space, but with people whom you can interact with, and especially if you want to interact with Dutch people. Demonstration is a form of protest, and it is allowed here. I think that just a few days ago, last week, there was a housing protest in the Netherlands, or rather in Leiden itself, and it is accepted here because people need to voice. Remember, it's freedom of opinion. They are allowed to voice their displeasure, and this is accepted. Now, freedom for self-determination. You can decide for yourself what choices you want to make in life, such as your faith, your lifestyle, your sexuality, your body. And for example, women here can terminate their pregnancies, and euthanasia can be carried out under strict certain circumstances. And over here, even when you go to the doctor has to ask you for permission before they touch you. So this is something important to know. Yeah. Now, what does knowing?
Sorry, could you speak up a little bit more?
Okay.
Sorry about that.
No worries. Can you hear me better now? I'll just put the mic nearer to me. So I'm not going to ask us to verbally share, but what does knowing about freedom does to you as a new international here? All right. Well, there's no standard answer to it because we all come from different backgrounds and countries. But as an intercultural trainer, I will let you know that there's an idea that you can face or consume differing opinions. There will be what you can see as controversial topics in the media. And you are able to participate in discussions, activities that may not have been possible before in your country of origin. And if you think about it, if the Dutch value freedom, it can give you an idea of the kind of work culture they have, where people are free to voice their opinions at work or in meetings. And this is also quite connected to the very next value that you will see. And again, a red tab here, 3 headlines coming up for you, and 1 shared value for you to see. This is by the Dutch News.nl with the headline, Tax Office fined 2.7 million for discrimination. This one from the government website, the Dutch government website, on the prohibition of discrimination. And the very last one, again, if you realize I'm a subscriber to the NL Times, where we talk about just last year about passing laws to get women into top business roles. One shared value across 3 different titles, different articles from different sources. What is that? So I am going to send you the poll. And once you're ready, fire away. Alrighty. Yeah, 80% chose equality. And again, this is a really smart, really awesome team. We are small, but we are really, really dynamic. You are very right. Equality. Equality is considered one of the Dutch core values, where in the Netherlands, you can expect equal treatment and a ban on discrimination. In fact, discriminating acts can result in consequences. Even the state cannot get away with it. Now, what does that mean to you when there is equal treatment for everyone here? That no matter where you're from, you have a right to equal treatment. Like, for example, employers cannot turn down women for jobs or treat them differently because they are pregnant or have young children. People with disabilities and seniors are treated equally, and they have a presence in the society. And when we talk about a ban on discrimination, as expected, it is not acceptable in the Netherlands. And again, if there is ever a possibility that you are confronted with discrimination, there are mechanisms in place in society where you can report it to the Anti-Discrimination Bureau or the police or the human rights boards here. All right. Again, just a short pause. What does knowing that equality is one of the core values for the Dutch society mean to you as a new international in the Netherlands, or even somebody who has been here for 3 to 5 years? Again, I would not, I'll probably be a broken record by the end of the day, but there's no standard answer because of where we all come from. But it could give you an idea that you will be treated as an individual, no matter where you're from. You will be treated next to your peers here as an equal. But if there are circumstances or situation where you feel that you are not being treated equal, you have the right to question it. Or even if that very moment you may not want to question it, you have the right to step away from it. Now, this also means that as an international, as a foreigner coming into the Netherlands, you have to treat your peers and equals as an equal. Oh, sorry, you have to treat your peers and colleagues as an equal. And again, if ever you feel you are in a situation that is possible discrimination, there are always mechanisms in place. I understand that moving countries is as feel the floor is taken out under you, but do know that there are places that you can seek help. All right, the third and last one, just remember we have freedom, we have equality, and this is the last value that you'll see or try to find. 3 headlines coming for you and 1 poll questions coming. All right, this is again from the National Statistics Board from CBS.nl. Is half of Dutch youth engaged in volunteering? You can read the gist if you want, but I'm going to show the next title article. Unions agree pay rises for teachers. And the very last one. amount of the minimum wage. The second article here is from a Dutch news website, from Dutch Review or DutchNews.nl, and this one comes from the Dutch government website. 3 different articles, headlines, but one shared value. So what do you think is the value that these articles share? And for the very last one, I am going to share the poll question. Take it away. All right. That was really quick. Yeah, awesome. All right, solidarity and work. It's pretty good, guys. You are right. I'm going to close it. Now, this is the final core value that I'll share with you about solidarity and work. There's a reason why I put and work in smaller capitals as compared. But what is the meaning of solidarity? Is to act together, to unite, all right, in situations where it might be difficult. Now, solidarity in the Dutch society means to help one another. That there's a safety net in the society, and work is part of the identity. Now, what does that mean to you? Volunteering is one of the ways to contribute to society. And this is very interesting. Just a personal example would be my father-in-law. He's Dutch, and I would think that he is really quite typical of the Dutch person here. He has 3 choir interest groups. And freedom of association, remember that, 3 different choir groups. And in his spare time, he volunteers to bring out elderly folks for a bike ride every week, different elderly folks all the time. And despite having 3 different choir groups, he still volunteers, and his brothers as well, who volunteers at the hospital. So volunteering is encouraged. And as you can see in the title of the article, about half of youngsters volunteer. So this is one way for you to be part of the society and not feel disconnected when you enter into the Netherlands. Now, social security is in the Netherlands one of the most comprehensive society system. Everybody working or not in the Netherlands, international or local, pays into the Dutch social security. And where times are tough, for example, you lose your job or you have to take time off work, you can claim governmental benefits. This is actually really reassuring, especially as a new international, because this is something that in case you have difficulty, you can reach out to see whether you can get advice and get help. And the Social Security Office, the Sociale Verzekeringsbank, is the place to go to ask whether you can get help. And work. Now, I'm not too worried about those that are coming to the Netherlands on short or long term, where you're relocated by your company, but more about for the trailing spouses or partners that are moving to the Netherlands for their partners, where if you're allowed to work, when you go into the job hunting world itself, do know that there is such a thing as minimum wage. Now, for those of you who come from countries that already have minimum wage, this is natural and logical. But do know that not everybody has that in their country of origin. So for those of you who are going to find a job here in the Netherlands, do know that there is such a thing as a minimum wage. And in the Netherlands, there are unions. So for example, you saw the title just now, training the teachers union, that will help you if you face challenges at the workplace. So what does it mean for you, really, as a new international? Uh, Knowing that solidarity and work is one of the core values. Again, no standard answer, given that all five of us are from different countries and parts of the world. But it can give you an idea about how you can still be part of the society while, for example, trying to find a job, while trying to settle yourself in the country. And how to connect with the Dutch. If you realize freedom and solidarity, they are very active in being part of associations. They're very active in volunteering. So if you really want to make connections, this is one of the ways to go. And a lot of internationals here do take time to be part of not only working, but also volunteering. And do know that there's always an outlet to ask for help. Now, this is just a quick recap. This is what we have done. We have unpacked the session title, and we have cut through the different layers of society, of culture, where we talk about the seen and the unseen part of the culture itself. And we have gone to the meat of the session, where we talk about the values. Just I like to remember as FAST, freedom, equality, and solidarity in work. And hopefully you can bring it back with you and think about how can I prepare myself with this into entering the Dutch society. So some of the sources that I've used for today, just to let you know that different books and different news outlets are being used for tonight. And yes, I open the floor to